Hi, and welcome to this video where I'm going to show some of the basic functionality of the Webiny Page Editor and how to build a fairly simple page. To get started, let's create a new page. So click the green button in the corner and select the page category. We'll use static. Once the editor loads, let's name our page. I'm going to use absurd ideas. Yeah. Cool. Now it's time to add some content, but before we dive deeper into adding content, let's cover some of the basics. First, the content is organized in blocks. To add a block, you click the green button here. There's several predefined blocks that are ready to use, but for this tutorial we'll just use an empty block. And you can keep adding as many blocks as you want. Each block by default will create a column that has a parent as a row, and then a parent block. Okay, so let's delete the other one. Now, a block by default will also have just a single column. If you want to have more columns under the elements button here, you can select the layout and then just drag and drop a column over an existing one, and that will split the columns into two. When it comes to adding actual content, you can either click the button inside a column, which will automatically show the drawer, and then you just select and click to add. That is one way of doing it. Or alternatively, you can go here into the drawer and then drag and drop an actual element. Okay, so let's start adding some real content to our page. Now, I've got these two text areas, so I'm going to use them. I'm going to make a title here. Then I can select that text and change it to heading 1, which will give me a big, nice, prominent title. And let's do a subtitle just underneath. Okay, so I'm going to use a heading 2 for this one. Bit too big. Let's try heading 3. Okay, I think that's perfect. I also want to add like a call to action button just underneath this text. So I'm going to do this. Just drag and drop the button here. Okay. I'm going to rename it subscribe. I also want to make it a primary so it looks a bit more nicer and that it stands out. I want to also add an icon to it. I'm going to use an icon named envelope. Yeah, I'm going to make it appear on the right side and just fairly smaller. Okay, I think that's looking nice already. One thing I also want to do is, you can see how these two columns are just next to each other. I want to make some space between them. First, I'm going to select the column on the left, and then under the margin settings, I'm going to expand the advanced options and add, let's say, 50 pixels margin on the right side. Okay, I'm going to do the same here, just it's going to be margin on the left side. Okay, cool. Now on this bit here, I want to add an image. So I'm going to click the plus button and then just click the image. That's going to add an image for me. As the next step, what I'm going to do is actually click this image. That will make this element active. So then I can just drag and drop an image over it, press save, and the image should appear. Okay, cool. So let's say this is a fairly nice header. I'm happy with it, so we can now proceed to the next block. We're going to click the plus and again use an empty block for this one. One thing I want to change on this block is actually the background. I want to use a light shade of gray. I think this one's perfect. I want to add some text. So click the plus, I've added some text. And I'm going to say here what's included. I'm going to use a heading 4 for this and just make it fairly bold. Now note there's a white space gap here. So a lot of elements come with some predefined margins and paddings, like the text area. So if you want to remove that, just go under the margin and just set it to 0. Cool, this looks better. So I want to add another text just underneath it. I'm going to drag and drop, and let's do some copy here. I'm going to use a heading to make it fairly big. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. Now underneath it, I want to make a selection of three, let's say three prominent features. So for that, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new row, because a row gives me the ability to again split this into multiple columns. Once I have my column, the first element I want to add is an image. Then underneath that image, I want to add a text, and I will need one more text. Okay, so for this upper text, we're gonna do a subtitle, and let's use heading 3 for that. For this one here, I want to use, instead of the paragraph, I want to use the description field. And this text has also quite a big gap here. Let's just make it a bit smaller. Let's make it 10 pixels. Okay. Once I'm happy with that structure of an image, a subtitle, and a text, I want to copy paste it like two more times, so I have 3 in total. For that, I want to select the parent column. So you can see here how the parent column actually overlaps with the image. So it might be a bit tricky to select it on the top. What you can use is actually the selector on the bottom. So in this case, I want actually to select not the row. Well, actually, you can see here that this is actually outside the row. So now it's inside our row. I want to drag and drop this one also inside our row. Okay, this is the actual structure of what I want, having a column and then all these 3 elements inside. And now what I can do is clone this and have a layout like this, which is cool, but let's add a bit more space to it. So for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add on this one 20 pixel margin to the right. On the middle one, again, I'm selecting the column. I want to add a 10 pixel and a 10 pixel on both sides. And on the last one, I again want to add a 20 pixel to the left. Cool. Let's now add some images to that. So, well, first let's click on the element to make it active. Drag and drop, press save, the image should appear. Nice. So let's use another one here. And the last one. Let's see how this looks like. Pretty decent. So I'm happy with that. Let's now proceed to a third column. For the third column, I want to use one of the existing blocks. And let's see what we have. I want to do like a list of a smaller set of features. So let's find something interesting here. This one actually looks pretty nice. So let's click to add, and this automatically adds the predefined block for us. But let's make some tweaks. For example, I want this text to be on the left. And I want all the images, well, not images, icons, to be black. Great. Now let's do one more column where I want to do some success stories, like testimonials or something like that. So under the testimonials section, there should be a nice block for us. This one looks pretty good. So let's click to add. I want to remove the background image. So I've selected the block, and under the image here, I want to remove the background image, and I want to add it a background color of gray. Okay. let's make this text aligned on the left, and that looks nice. Now let's add a bit more padding, so I got a bit more gray space. You can see that I got more space here to the top than on the bottom. So I'm going to select the block, and under the padding I want to increase the bottom padding by 50 pixels. Okay, this looks nice. And finally, let's add one more block. For that, we're going to use an empty block, and let's do some text here. So we're going to do join the yeah, that looks nice. Let's do heading 2 and align it centrally. Cool. I want to add a call to action button as well. I want to make it center aligned, make it primary again, and let's do join now here. Okay, I think this page actually looks pretty nice. To preview it in your browser, well, outside the page editor, you can click the preview button here and it will show up. Just wait for the images. Perfect. Okay, this is looking really nice. When you're ready to publish the page, you can click the orange button, but before that, I just suggest you click the cog for settings and just populate some of the settings, especially for the SEO and social media, to make it a bit more nicer when you actually share the page around. Cool, I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.